Minx is having a moment. It's apparently over. Hello, and welcome back to more of my DVD collection here on Monday, March the 16th. I don't know what's so special about that. But yeah, I have decided to do, it was actually suggested by Tanya. Tanya said that she'd like to see my TV collection. And there's stuff from my TV collection and there's stuff from my like sci-fi collection. I'm excited to. There's things within each that I'm excited to show off. So, but TV ended up winning out because I have a thing on my thing over here. Cat hairs. Cat hairs. I don't know if you can see it or not. But so yes, obviously, I mean, you've seen the title of the video, and my cat is not going to throw up, so we're good. We're good. So you know we've moved on to the TV selection, and I'm not really being very picky about this. I'm just kind of grabbing a pile, so it's going to be very mixed bag of different things. There are a couple things that I want to do specifically. I almost grabbed one of my anime series today, but I decided I would do that kind of as its own little thing, just to kind of show off my entire anime collection that I have, a very small collection that I have. And I think I'm going to do my fuck if I know, I just lost it. Oh, Power Ranger collection. All the stuff that I have that's Power Rangers, I think I'm going to do that all in one. And I'll probably do Mystery Science Theater. I think I'll do all of my Mystery Science Theater collection together, just so that you can see. I feel like I can go through these really faster than talking about movies, because a lot of times, you know, multiple things are, you know, it's different seasons of the same show and it's all the same show, you know. So I just kind of grabbed everything off of the top of because I have some of my movies sitting like this, and then I have some movies laying down on top. So I just grabbed everything that was on top, and it's a pretty heavy pile here. It's a pretty big pile here, but as I said, some of these are easy to go through because they're multiple seasons of the same show. So once I talk about it, you can just see what they have. The thing on the top is not something I purchased. It's Video Game High School, Season 1. I actually got this in a Loot Crate once. I can't remember what it is, and obviously it's still in the package. I have not checked it out. It sounded like it might be a show that I might be interested in. Get schooled. In a world where professional video gaming is the biggest sport on Earth, a hapless young gamer named Brian D. gets the chance of a lifetime to sharpen his skills with the best of the best by enrolling in the most elite private gaming academy in the world, Video Game High School. VGHS is a show about best friends, first loves, and landing that perfect headshot. So, I, once again, have not seen this, so I don't know. I got it in a Loot Crate. Like I said, it sounded interesting, and I thought maybe I'll check it out sometime, and obviously have not. Now, the next one is not something that I got into right away. I watched it when it aired, but it has since become like this cult phenomenon, Firefly. And honestly, I didn't actually really start getting into this until it was almost over. Toward the end of the episodes, I really started, you know, getting into the groove and getting into this. Now the problem is, they aired the episodes out of order on Fox. Fox demanded it. Yeah, I think they put them, I'm pretty sure on the DVD collection, they have them in the order that Joss Whedon wanted them to go in, and it makes a little bit more sense the way that they go in, because Fox wanted like a more, you know, exciting first episode, you know, and whatever, blah, 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 blah. So the episode where we like actually meet all the characters comes later, you know. But basically they're just, you know, scavengers, I guess you could say. 500 years in the future, there's a whole new frontier, and the crew of the Firefly-class spaceship Serenity is eager to stake a claim on the action. They'll take any job, legal or illegal, to keep fuel in the tanks and food on the table, but things get a bit more complicated after they take on a passenger wanted by the new totalitarian allegiance regime. Now they find themselves on the run, desperate to steer clear of Alliance ships and the flesh-eating reavers who live on the fringes of space. So this actually spawned a movie that didn't do very well either. It was Serenity. It was just called Serenity, and they always talk. There's so much fan fervor over this show, and I really need to go back and re-watch it once again, because like I said, I didn't really start getting into it until the end of it. It took me a minute to get into it, even though it's Joss Whedon and it's filled with, you know, he has a very nice quirky kind of style. Like the characters all sound Joss Whedon-ish, I guess you might say. So it's I didn't appreciate it in the very beginning, and that was a shame, I feel like. So includes 3 never aired episodes, so that's kind of cool. I'm pretty sure I watched them by now, but there's 4 discs in there. I don't know. It's one of those I might have intended to go back and rewatch, and of course never did. But this is definitely interesting. It's like, you know, Captain Tight Pants, isn't that what they call them? And the brown coats. There's the brown coats everywhere. So yeah, it's a quirky, neat little sci-fi show that, like I said, has since become a cultural phenomenon, or a cult phenomenon, I guess you could say. I thought this one was fuzzy. Did I not have the fuzzy one? Well, anyway, that's a different topic entirely. And of course, that doesn't look the same anymore, probably. But the next show that I have is something, you know, not really from my childhood, but one of the movies was from my childhood, and that's why this set of characters has a very special place in my heart, and it is The Muppet Show, seasons 1 and 2. Now, see, I thought I had the version. I think there's a version where like this stuff is fuzzy on Kermit, but it's shiny. I like it. But see, on this, Miss Piggy is all fuzzy, but she's blue now. I don't feel like she should have been blue, but her eyes are nice and sparkly. See her sparkly eyes? So those are neat. I haven't seen much of the original Muppet Show. There was one, I think it was in the 90s, maybe early 2000s, called Muppets Tonight, and I definitely watched that one. One of the movies that my grandmother taped off cable for us was The Great Muppet Caper. She missed the beginning of it, or it got taped over or something. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I actually missed the first parts of the movie. So that was one of the movies that I kept going back and watching over and over and over again when I was a kid. So the Muppets hold a special place in my heart. And I haven't really explored the old Muppet Show very much. I do have some once I get to the VHS tapes, I have some VHS tapes that, that I did buy, and I did watch those. I think there's like a Halloween-themed one with like Ozzy Osbourne or something that I have. And Vincent Price, I believe Vincent Price is in it. So, I got cat hairs on them. Cat hairs everywhere. But so, yes, I have seasons 1 and 2 of The Muppet Show, which of course I have never watched, but I'm sure I would enjoy if I were to actually sit down and watch them. And I think the place here in town, it's called Rockin' Sports. He kind of has like secondhand stuff. I'm pretty sure he has season 3, because I think season 3 is Fozzie, and he's fuzzy, Fozzie. This is one of my favorite personal shows that I don't know how many people remember, but it's Greg the Bunny. And you see we've got Seth Green and Eugene Levy. I was trying to think, Sarah Silverman, she's in it as their boss. Basically, it shows the behind the scenes, like they're doing a children's TV show, and this kind of shows the puppets' lives behind the scenes and stuff. They don't have many of the puppets on here, but I can't. That's what the ape. There's the Count. So if you ever hear me say "I get blah," like that's one of the episodes where they put Seth Green in charge because like this is his dad, and I think it's his dad's show, and he ends up getting involved in because his dad wants him to, get a job or something or whatever, and so his dad lets him take over the show and kind of change it up for a younger audience or whatever. So they're trying to get the Count to say, and he Count Blah. I'm pretty sure his name is Count Blah. He always says blah after everything that he says, kind of like the Count on Sesame Street, after he counts or whatever. So they're trying to get him to say I. And instead he goes "I-get," because he's just looking at how it's spelled. So he says "I-get blah." Oh, there he is. There's the Count right there. On there with Silverman and the ape. The ape is kind of a snooty, like, he thinks he's... I believe he was in, like... He was probably in Hamlet or something at some point, because he's very, like... He thinks he's better than everything else and everyone else. I was looking for more pictures of the puppets, and there's one in there which, I mean, it's somewhat I don't think it would be allowed today. I'm surprised it was allowed at all, because he's it's kind of like their Ralph Wiggum, if you know Simpsons very well. He's kind of a slower character. He's a turtle, so of course he talks slow, and he's not very smart. And he actually became one of the most beloved characters, even though he's not in there for very long. And his puppet actually disappeared after the show ended, and no one knows what happened to it. But his name is Tardy the Turtle, and that's not very appropriate. So I'm kind of surprised they got away with that. I think... I want to say this show only lasted for one season. But of course... I was left wanting more. The complete series, all 13 episodes, including 2 that never aired on TV. Oh, interesting. I probably watched it. I don't know. Who knows? I never watch anything. What the fuck am I talking about? So yeah, this is kind of an interesting kind of like the Happy Time Murders in some way. It kind of shows the puppets. They have their show, but then it's like what happens after hours, after the show, their real lives and whatever. Kind of like the Muppet Show. There was just a few years ago. I think it was just called The Muppets. Was it just called The Muppets? I don't know, on ABC. But it didn't last. Excuse me, unfortunately. This next one is an old syndicated show that I recall enjoying. They had a lot of interesting stories involved in them. Right, Minx? But it's Poltergeist: The Legacy. Season 1. They have like a team that goes and does these investigations and different stuff and I think the team changes over time, maybe a little bit of people coming in and out or whatever. From the producers of The Outer Limits comes this provocative science fiction series about an ancient order dedicated to battling the evil forces that seek a foothold in the modern world. Nominated for science fiction's top honors, the Gemini and Saturn Awards, this riveting series is an addictive cult classic full of occult thrills. A handsome psychic, Dr. Derek DeLint, leads the San Francisco sect of the Legacy, a secret group on the front lines of the war against humanity's supernatural enemies. Along with a Navy SEAL, Martin Cummings, a priest, Patrick Fitzgerald, a college grad, Robbie Chong, and a psychiatrist, Helen Shaver, he must solve the mysteries of the unknown to protect the world that we know. So there's a lot of different... it's more of an episodic kind of series. They kind of have their story this week, or they kind of like the monster of the week kind of thing. But I always remember them being very interesting stories at the very least, coming from this creepy castle. But yeah, it was kind of one of those, just kind of a cool ghost story every week kind of thing. I can't remember for sure how many seasons there were of this. I don't know how many seasons you can get on DVD. At least the second season you can get it on demand, if you want it on DVD. you can get it at Amazon, and it's kind of one of those, I don't know exactly for sure what they call it, but they don't print the DVD until you order it, so it's kind of like DVD on demand kind of thing. If you want the DVD set, you just order it at Amazon and then they make it for you, basically. It's kind of how it works. But I don't know if all of the seasons ever made it to DVD or made it on that program or not. But I definitely need to get more of them because I do not recall them exactly. But I do remember enjoying the ghostly stories every week. And here, once again, this is actually, I believe it's a Canadian show. And I don't even know exactly how I came across it. There was, this is Puppets Who Kill. Puppets Who Kill. Inspired and subversive. There was a show a long time ago, and I never found out what it was. My friend Jason was describing it to me about... I just remember, for some reason, there was something, and it was a show with puppets, and I can't remember exactly what the situation was, but one of the puppets was, oh, I thought I saw a nipple. Like, he was explaining the show to me, and that's one of those things that's always stood out to me. I mean, I might be able to search online for that line to find out if it is this. Darkly hilarious. So I don't know if I came across this show. Apparently that's other characters in the show, maybe. But I have not watched any of this. There was at least 2 seasons, I believe, because when I was looking these up to buy them on DVD, this is the only one I got. But anyway, in the interest of instant ratings gratification, the network brass should have titled this series When Good Puppets Go Bad, but then that's too much reality and not enough makeover. This old halfway house, copyright problems, so we went with the old double entendre, and it pays off. When Bill, the bloodthirsty ventriloquist dummy, Buttons, sexually hyperactive corporate mascot, Cuddles, the foul-mouthed comfort doll, and Rocco, the con artist plush puppy, go into a rehab mid-station, their antics are both psychologically murderous on their hapless social worker, played by comic near-genius Dan Redican, and deadly funny at the same time. Puppets Who Kill? Exactly. So, I have not watched any of this. I can't vouch for it at all, but it has puppets, and they kill, I guess. It doesn't look like it's ending too well for that guy. I'm guessing that's their social worker, because it said that they were their social worker. I don't know. But, it's a show with puppets, so of course it interested me. But I have not seen any of it, so I cannot vouch for if it's any good or not. Also, I cannot vouch for the Jeff Foxworthy show. This is There Goes the Neighborhood, 2 discs with 1 whole season. I think I got this for like $5. It was like in the $5 bin at Walmart. So it's kind of like, well, I might... I don't know if I saw any of this show or not. I don't feel like I did. I don't feel like I ever saw any of the Jeff Foxworthy show. But I have the complete first season of it, and it is Jeff Foxworthy. I do enjoy his comedy, so I would probably enjoy this show if I were to ever sit down and watch it, potentially. Yeah, it's kind of like Reba. Reba's had a couple different shows, and I can't necessarily keep track of which one was which. But, well, she's had 2. I mean, she had Reba, obviously, and I will probably discuss it later because I'm sure I probably have that on DVD somewhere, at least some of it. Yeah, she had Malibu Country and something else. There was another one that didn't last very long. One of them had Lily Thompson in it. I want to say Malibu Country had Lily Thompson in it, but it doesn't matter because we're talking about the Jeff Foxworthy show. Jeff Foxworthy. Speaking of Jeff Foxworthy, I kind of hope... I haven't heard anything about a second season of Bring the Funny, but I kind of hope there's a second season of Bring the Funny because I enjoyed that. So yeah, I can't necessarily say that I watched this, but I do enjoy Jeff Foxworthy, so I would probably say it's all right. Now, a show that I did watch, but a lot of people didn't, and that's probably okay. The reboot of Bionic Woman. Oh, excuse me. Snarf. This, I don't remember being very good. I'm sorry. It was okay. The main problem with it, and I've heard other people say this, the show is not interesting unless the villain is there. It's Katie Sackhoff from the reimagining of Battlestar Galactica, Starbuck. She plays really good evil in this. I think it's kind of one of those things, maybe it just got a little bit, it's kind of like, it's almost like, thinking back on it, it's almost like the DC universe, the DC movies. It was too gritty. There was not enough, like, it's like they were trying too hard to have her be a badass, like a gritty, hard-ass badass, and it just didn't quite work. The most buzzed about show of the fall season. I don't think that's true. I think it's a show that could have retooled and done a little bit. It could have done better if it had got a second season. They could have, maybe worked on their bumps and scrapes and scratches and whatever, and had Katie Sackhoff on full time, I guess. But that's the problem, is the villain is more interesting than the hero, and the hero is the one that we're supposed to follow the entire time, and it just wasn't quite there. I did find myself somewhat bored when Katie Sackhoff wasn't there, because it's like I watched the show more for her than I did the Bionic Woman. I think it was kind of one of those things. Spoiler alert, I suppose. I think she was a previous Bionic Woman, and so, but her bionics had gotten corrupted or manipulated or something, so she was evil, and she played really good, fun evil in the show. So this show, okay, I'm done with the spoilers. You can come back if you went away. The show is worth watching just for Katie Sackhoff alone. So I mean, and maybe it's not as ho-hum as I recall. But the only thing I recall from the show was Katie Sackhoff. So, yeah. But I own it. I've never opened it. It's still locked away. But yeah, it's worth watching just for Katie Sackhoff being an evil bitch. Okay. Now, these next DVD sets that I have are the last 3 DVD sets of today's, and I've blah blah blahed on for quite a while. So it's something that a lot of people loved before I did, because I did not come into it until 2005, I believe. Very very late in the game, but it is pretty much all, if I can get them whipped out here, the Doctor Who's. And you saw me open these. Maybe you might have seen me open these. Let me put them back in the, because, well, and also, if you remember, you are sitting on the boxes that they came in, and up there on top of my TV is the little toys that came out of them, the little doctors that came out of them. So there they are on top of my TV, and we're back to me. It's one of those shows. Whoa, it got rebooted, restarted, I guess, because Doctor Who is a Time Lord, and it's kind of one of those things where they're able to just continue to reinvent the show, because when the Doctor dies, he actually regenerates into a whole new doctor. So that way they can keep it going, and it's like it's supposed to be, you know, kind of like I was asking this question about James Bond the other day. Are they all the same? Are they all the same guy, or is it like a call sign that whoever earns the right to be called James Bond or 007? But apparently it's all supposed to be the same guy, I guess, from my understanding of it. But no, even here on this set is Doctor Number 9 and Doctor 10. He was very popular. I guess since he was my first Doctor, I mean, I kind of liked him. He was like the badass Doctor, I guess, and that's Rose Tyler there in the middle. Because the Doctor, he travels through time and space, and it's kind of one of those things that, like, it can be anywhere, it can do anything, you know, like they can have like a historical episode, and then the next episode they can be like on the Titanic in space, you know. I think that was actually one of the because they always have a Christmas special too, and the companion, he always has a companion, and that's Rose Tyler there, and on the back we have Maggie Smith, and we have Donna Noble down. She was pretty fun. Even though I don't really remember her very much. I don't really remember Donna Noble very much, but from what I've rewatched, she was very funny. Of course, you know, Catherine Tate is a comedian, so comedian. So he always has a companion with him that travels with him, and the companion is supposed to be kind of our view into the world, because it's, you know, it's the human traveling with the Doctor, you know. And he's timeless. So there's a lot of timey-wimey bullshit. Let's be honest, people. A lot of timey-wimey bullshit that happens in this. I'm looking at you, River Song. But it has a lot of interesting characters and everything. And this is... Ooh, well, I think that's maybe a little broke. I think that's a little broke, maybe. I don't know. It's not in there very good, that's for sure. So yeah, I mean, they do have some overarching storylines, or some, depending on the. Sometimes it's just an overarching storyline for the Doctor. You know, we've got Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant, and down here after that we had the Matt Smith years with Miss Amy Pond. There, y'all might recognize her. She's been in, you know, Jumanji and the frickin' Avengers and all that kind of stuff now. And Oculus, I don't know if anybody remembers the horror movie Oculus. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. And Rory and River Song down here. And Amy Pond and one of the other companions. Clara. The Impossible Girl. That's what I remember her as. So yeah, I mean, it's every few years, depending on if someone wants to leave the role, or sometimes I feel like that's kind of what happened with David Tennant. He even has his last line is like, "I don't want to go," or something like that. So but like new showrunners came in, and sometimes I think they make the person leave because they're like, we want our own Doctor and we want our own companions, and you know, we want the show to be ours. You know, we don't want the leftover Doctor or the leftover companions or whatever. And sometimes people just you know, decide to leave after a couple years or whatever because they want to move on to something else, do something new. But I mean, that's what kind of, you know, helps keep Doctor Who fresh, is you've always got a different viewpoint, I suppose, different characters running in and out. But after Matt Smith, we have Peter Capaldi, and as you can see, Clara is still with him to begin with. Later, he has Bill. I liked Bill. I wish he had lasted longer. But it's kind of one of those things where, once again, a new showrunner came in, and now the after Peter Capaldi is when now they have the female Doctor, whose name I can't think of right now. But her stint as the Doctor is not over yet. She's in her second season, her second series as the Doctor, and but because it's not done, there's no complete set with all of her stuff in it. And these were like, you know, kind of cheapish at Walmart, you know, so I just decided to pick these up. So now I have the entire story, at least up until I think she's the 13th Doctor. There's the War Doctor in the middle there somewhere. So yes, now I have the complete series with Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant, and then I have the complete Matt Smith, and I have the complete Peter Capaldi. So I have pretty damn much everything. Her name almost came to me, but it is not there. Nope, can't think of it. But anyway, so yeah, it's kind of one of those things, you know, and depending on how you feel about, it's kind of like, that's my problem sometimes with the show, is that when they change things, especially if they don't have a carryover, because Rose was a carryover between Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant, so we still kind of had that familiarity. And like, you know, Clara with between Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi. So there's some kind of something that we can continue to follow. It takes me a while to catch up. Like when they did David Tennant to Matt Smith, like everything changed, and it's like, you know, different Doctor, different companions, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like it takes me a little while to warm up to them again. Like just me personally. That's not always necessarily the case with everybody. It's kind of like, you know, who's the new companion, who's the new Doctor, let's see how they do, you know. But so it takes me a minute to like warm up to them or get used to them all over again, you know, kind of as it is. So I like it better when we have a carryover, you know, between either the companions or the Doctor, to kind of keep things, I guess, you know, similar. Just enough to, or familiar for me, since everything, you know, since it's going to be different or whatever. Because it's like, I thought I would really like Peter Capaldi when he originally took over, and he was kind of mean to begin with. But he got to where I liked his kind of crazy, like, you know, mean-spirited. Clara had her flashcards to remind him of different things to say instead of whatever he wanted to say. You know, she's like, here's something to say that's a little bit nicer than what you were about to say, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So he kind of had his thing too, and usually they all have their like little catchphrase. Like David Tennant's was Geronimo, and his was fantastic. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Can't remember what Peter Capaldi's was. But anyway, I have all of them now, so I can watch anything I want anytime once I find it in the middle of... I mean, look at how many DVDs there are in there between David Tennant and Matt Smith, or David Tennant and Christopher Eccleston. But if I can find them. So, but now there's better sets, I think, that you know, they might have some in Blu-ray now, whatever, or with more extras on them. I don't know exactly for sure what extras are on these, but at least, you know, for a cheap alternative, as just to have something that doesn't even close. There we go. I still have all of it. I assume, I don't know if the Christmas specials are on here. I don't know. That's an interesting, because one of the, and it was with David Tennant. It was one of his last Christmas specials. The lady from Bionic Woman, the main lady, her, she was his companion in one of the Christmas specials. But more fun in the Christmas special. But anyway, so yes, I have all of it, which is kind of nice, for not very much money. And that was actually when we had our extra discount, so I got it for even cheaper. But anyway, that is today's pile-o thingies, and I've gabbed on for a lot longer than, but I had quite a pile, I feel like. Much more of a pile than my movies. But anyway, so yes, we will continue with this TV collection one way or another. And that's about it. And I'll see you for when I see you.